Hey everybody, my name is Spot, and welcome to the Local Gods podcast, where we talk about games and tech and everything in between. I'm here with my co-host, Horath Drak.
Hello.
Well, what have you been doing this week? Or this last week?
Man, I've been spending most of my time with Battle Brothers. I've been playing.
I've noticed that. Every time I look at you that you're online on Discord, it's like Battle Brothers. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah, that's been pretty much my life.
I've been like, I really hope he's recording those, or he's just burning a lot of time.
Now I'm actually gonna create a bunch of tips videos. I got close to 90 tips now that I gotta work into some form of videos. I've got them categorized by different categories like combat or starting out, high difficulty, all that kind of stuff. So it's time that has been used productively, I guess.
Nice. Yeah. My problem with doing like tips videos I've always had is it's not coming up with the tips, although that sometimes it depends on the game, right? But it's actually gathering the footage to go with the tips takes forever.
Yes, that has been a pain in the butt. I'm at that. I guess the main reason why I have so many tips now is because it's always easier to think of more tips instead of capturing the footage. So I've been sitting there thinking about more and more tips just to avoid going for the footage thing. But I have to do it. So
you just keep digging your grave deeper and deeper? You're like,
yes.
Eventually I got to fill this up.
Yes, that's how it goes. Battle Brothers, by the way, is a game that sort of allows you to take over a mercenary company, take the leadership of a mercenary company in a, let's say, low fantasy, medieval-ish world. There are orcs and stuff, but it's sort of all the superstitions that people in the medieval times have are true. So there are like ghouls and ghosts and that kind of stuff, but nothing, no magic or something like that that you yourself can wield. Just superstitions that are sort of other.
That's the game we talked about last week with the bauble people, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The one that in the battle scenes that they look like they're almost chess pieces.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you played it somewhat. How is the combat?
Yeah, it's really good actually. It looks simplistic, but it's it's sort of XCOM-like. So
nice.
You got your hit chances. Most abilities are actually based on the weapons. So if you have a sword, you have a certain set of abilities. And if you give that same person like an axe or something, you have another set of abilities. So the sword allows you to riposte. So if the enemy attacks you and they miss, then you have a chance, then your character will counterattack if you use that ability. And if you have an axe, you can break shields and all that kind of stuff. So it's really versatile. Works with an action point system, so it's turn-based, and characters build up fatigue. Until you can sort of have a stalemate where everyone on the battlefield is so exhausted from doing the attacks and all that the pace slows really down, which I find really realistic as well.
Nice.
It's not something for perfect runs, so the combat does get messy.
Good. Well, no, that's always nice.
Mm-hmm.
When you say it uses action points, is it using like a simplified action point system like XCOM, the new XCOM, or is it more of an actual action point pool like the original XCOM?
An actual pool. Every character has 9 action points, and different abilities have different action points. Like, for example, shooting the bolt of a loaded crossbow costs you 2, and a certain amount of fatigue gets built up. Reloading the same thing costs you 7 action points. Then moving costs action points depending on different terrain. Moving up different altitudes, so the terrain has multiple levels, and being higher up confers certain bonuses on your characters. Shooting down is obviously good. Fighting down is obviously good, and vice versa. It's actually quite intricate. It's doing a lot with it being a small indie game.
Very nice. Sounds great. I'm definitely going to have to check it out. Have you been playing anything else? You're like, no, just that.
Not much, actually. I've been playing like 50 hours of that in the last couple of days.
Damn.
Oh yeah, I've been playing War Tile. So that is a Viking themed tabletop game. Looks actually quite beautiful. It goes for sort of stylized figurines of warriors and all that, and then it has these beautiful 3D dioramas made up. Like tabletop games.
Nice.
It's really, really nice. It's real time, but with a turn-based feel, so you can slow the time down to a crawl. And then you move your figurines from left to right and have them engage with the enemies. They can level up. You can give them different equipment. It's an early access done by a Danish developer. Well, they're named, I think, Playwood Projects.
Very nice.
And that is sort of my jam, Viking-themed games. I thought I'd check it out.
If someone didn't know you well enough, they think you might actually be into Viking.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to give that impression, but
you wouldn't want to do that.
I have a passing affection for them. What did you play?
Actually, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I've been working a lot. It's like ridiculous. I have had for several days all the components for my new computer, and I have yet to be able to put them together. I'm like a third of the way through. It's actually sitting on the kitchen table, like parts everywhere. My fiance is thrilled about it. Trust me. Anyway, I did pick up a game that I actually saw in early access, not early access, I'm sorry, on Kickstarter way before it was out, like last year before, and I was like, that looks really interesting, called Albion Online. And
it's never heard of that.
You should look it up. It's an MMO, but it's more like, think 3D isometric, almost kind of Torchlight-ish in visuals, and it's complete player-driven economy.
Okay.
It's the whole thing, like they're putting a lot of stuff into the more realistic part. You know, more like old Ultima Online, Star Wars Galaxies type stuff. Yeah, yeah.
I always wanted to play something like that.
Yeah.
Is that on Steam?
I believe it is on Steam. I don't know, but if you just search Albion, it's Albion. And so I grabbed a copy because I was like, oh, that's out, and it's in like they've been updating it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's weird getting into, usually MMOs these days are, completely 3D. And this obviously is 3D, but I'm talking about like, camera like sitting on your character's shoulder or right behind them, And this is, again, it's more like Torchlight. But yeah, it's actually quite interesting, and the UI is gorgeous. And you can tell, even playing, I've had maybe 3 hours to play it, but even at that, you can tell the detail just by like the skill tree. For example, there's no levels. For example, you level up in things as you use them. Sort of. It's not like you use it and you get a progress bar, but you get these, and I don't even know what they really refer to them as. It's like experience points, but they're spread out across the different things. So you can level up in farming, for example, or harvesting certain things, And as you level up, you get access to craft, and actually, I don't think you can buy them at all. It's all crafting. You get access to craft higher level tools, kind of a la Minecraft a bit in that way. But yeah, it looks really interesting, and supposedly, I haven't gotten this far, but supposedly there's in there somewhat now, and even planned a lot of PvP stuff, and the ability for you to build castles and territory control. And when you say territory control for an MMO, and me, I'm totally in. That's what got me hooked on Lineage 2 way back in the day. Is the ability to like control territory, get taxes from the other players that are working in that territory, things like that. Yeah, love it. That's one of the things I like about Black Desert Online, but Black Desert is a bit too limited for my style. Although probably this is too limited as well. I still my heart is still back in the days of like Star Wars Galaxy, where like you could walk for an hour outside of a city passing player houses because they weren't instanced. They were actually there, which is awesome,
nice.
Right?
Nice.
Because of course the scaling issue, the load issue from a technological perspective has now become like just the snapshot response of, oh, we'll just instance it. And I'm like, well, yeah, but if you instance it, then it's pretty much useless except to you, right? I mean, like it was awesome in Star Wars Galaxies that you could put your store there and someone could literally stumble over it and walk in and go, oh, this person has goods because they have a storefront, and actually start buying shit from you because they literally just happened to stumble over you as they were walking through a field. That's amazing. And I still have yet to see that. But anyways, back to Albion Online. I don't know if it's that level of player-driven world, but it is quite interesting, and it looks like there's a lot of potential there. So if you like that type of stuff, you should definitely check it out. I think you can get into like the smallest package, which is what I did, is like $29.99. And I don't know what it's going to be. I hope it's not free to play, because there's always issues there when it launches. But we'll see. So yeah, really, really interesting stuff. I've been playing some Warhammer Vermintide just a little bit. That's kind of one of those wash, rinse, repeat games that I play every once in a while, but don't really get into because I can't play it for very long without it getting old. But it's a well polished game. It's quite nice. And it's not your normal get a gun, shoot someone, get a better gun, shoot someone twice type situation. So there is some group dynamics and strategy there. So that's nice as well.
Nice, yeah. I watched Total Biscuit play that game and review it and all that. So that's your feel-good game, eh?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, the stuff we normally talk about, like the paradox stuff and things like that. Like that's kind of like, you can't just jump in there for 15 minutes.
That's true.
It's just not that type of game. But Vermintide is one of those games. I have a few of those, like Warframe and things like that. So something that I didn't throw on the list because I don't think that there's really a lot there to talk about, but is interesting to just also say in passing. Warframe actually added a new frame, or a class almost, right? That actually allows you to do very interesting things through composing music, which is interesting. So if you find stuff like that interesting, you should go check out Warframe, which is a really good game in and of itself.
I think I saw a tweet a couple of hours ago that they actually passed the record amount of concurrent users for Warframe, 69,000 or something, after 4 years is what it's been out now?
Yeah.
Amazing, actually. It's alive.
Warframe is a very interesting, I think, use case, or just example case of a game that released, did okay, had some really, their mechanics were almost bleeding edge. They were like too far ahead of the curve. And there was just a little bit lack of polish, especially the polish that you would need to make those mechanics work, like, mainstream. And then they fell back for a while, pretty much reinvented themselves, put it all out, like actually did it, got it out there, and they've been just going strong ever since. So it can be done, which is really interesting. But
it's always nice to see something like that rewarded from the side of the consumers and the players, because otherwise you have AAA publishers that are saying like, yeah, we could go for more polish and stuff, and we could put more work in, but yeah. It's not going to pay off anyways.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. I can't think of any example, and you might be able to correct me, of any AAA publisher that's ever done that. That's ever went past the money shot, right? It's always like the launch, and they get as much buy as they can before anyone can figure out that there's stuff wrong, right? And then the most that they ever do is they might patch it for a few years, but I've never seen a AAA title go, okay. I mean, other than Paradox, which usually doesn't make screw ups that big anyways, but also their stuff I wouldn't say is, I mean, it is AAA, but when we're talking about actual sales wise, it's not really AAA. But I've never seen a AAA publisher take a huge game like, let's say, Ghost Recon Wildlands, which I've heard from multiple sources is like, oh, no, this is really boring, right? And it's total America porn as well. That actually go, okay, we made some serious mistakes here, fall back, make massive changes to the game to where it is pretty much a different game. Right, and then put it back out there. I've never seen a AAA publisher do that. I don't think ever.
I can't think of an example either. There are some examples where people have taken their game off the market and then come back with something overhauled. I think the only thing that is sort of AAA is, I think, what was it? The multiplayer game where one plays the beast and the other 4 people play the hunter.
Oh, Evolve.
Yeah, they did that, right? They overhauled the game for their free-to-play launch. I'm not sure how that has
but they just
worked
kind
out for them.
of fixed things. I mean, they did more stuff than you actually see a lot of developers do at that level, but they didn't really completely reinvent the wheel, which kind of Warframe did. But I think Warframe's also self-published, which helps significantly. We've seen what being self-published can allow you to do with people like Paradox and even Bethesda, who there's issues with their stuff, but they've been able to try things that normally you wouldn't be able to do if you weren't self-published.
Yeah, that's true.
And then there's people like Blizzard who technically aren't self-published but are so huge that people will just throw money at them anyway. Right.
They're doing good stuff though.
Yeah, exactly. So, were you ever a StarCraft fan?
I actually, I hate to admit, but that train completely passed me by.
Did it really?
I was hugely into Age of Empires.
It was a really big train.
Yeah, and it moved past me to the point where I thought, yeah, it's too late now.
Age of Empires is awesome.
Yeah. It's still going strong, StarCraft, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And they're actually this year is the 20th year anniversary of the original, and they're doing a remastered. Actually, it's cute. Actually, it's fun to watch stuff like this. You and I have had conversations like this. So in the same, they actually have a remastered trailer, right? But then if you do a search, you can find the full announcement, and they did the announcement in Korea, of course, because StarCraft has always been a Korean baby. And or a love child almost. And it's funny because in the full announcement, it's only like 5 minutes, but what's his name? One of the co-founders of Blizzard, he's up there talking about it. And he talks about how they're going to be patching the original StarCraft to 1.18 here in like a month or so. And they're fixing a bunch of bugs, and they're adding a bunch of stuff, and blah blah blah, and it's going to be free for everyone. And you're like, wow, that's amazing, that's great, awesome. And then they announced StarCraft Remastered, which I guarantee you will not be free.
Yes.
So it's like we'll give you the original, which runs like crap. Well, actually, it will probably run a bit better with the patch, but it looks horrible. It's not widescreen support and all this stuff. You can play it just enough to figure out that you want to buy the remastered version from us.
Well, that's sound business practice, isn't it?
There you go. Yeah, but well, and I have no problem with that. That's awesome. I mean, that's great. I find it funny when certain people talk about things like they're giving it away for free. Aren't they nice? No, they're not nice. What are you, crazy? That's the tease. That's the demo. That's the hobbled version, so they can get you to buy the big one. So
at least if they're clever. I mean, you can give away stuff for free. But what are you going to live on then? I mean...
Oh, no. I agree completely. Well, yeah, but... Okay, hold on a second. Wait. This is a significantly different situation than that. I think what you just said doesn't really apply here whatsoever. We're talking about fucking Blizzard, right? Okay, they have the money to give away a 20-year-old game, even patched, and the little bit of money, the tiny pocket lint worth of money they spent, like, actually writing that patch. They have the money to give that away for free. It's not like they're making shit tons of money on the original StarCraft Brood War pack anymore. But the reason they're doing it for the most part is because they want to sell the remastered. Or, you know what, it may be in reverse. It may be that they decided that they want to do the patch, and then they did the patch. I mean, like, we don't know. They did the patch internally, and then part of the QA process is people started playing it, and they're like, God, this is a good game. But and then they're like, you know what, we should look into how much it would cost to remaster it. And then they did that. Yeah. Maybe there's that. That's fine. I'm not saying there's anything malicious going on at all. I'm just saying that it's kind of funny that, you know, anyone who plays the 1.18 that didn't play it before, like you, for example, and if they really like it, they're probably going to go ahead and buy the remastered version. And it's not like Blizzard is oblivious to that. So
yeah, I would. Definitely.
Right. Exactly. You know, so, and you're saying that with never really ever playing it, right? And so even ahead of time, you know that you would. So
it makes me feel old, though. If you think that StarCraft was released 20 years ago, that makes me feel really old.
It makes me feel old too. I actually remember playing StarCraft at my original, like, I mean, I did some contract work before that, which was kind of an odd story anyway. But when I was 16, I got my first, like, salaried job. And I was working at an internet service provider. This is back when it was still dial-up. And I remember playing StarCraft on my computer at work, which was quite fun. That was interesting. Fun times, yeah. So
I did that with Diablo 2 once.
Yeah. I have a funny story.
Get into the BattleNet at home.
Yeah, I have a funny story about Diablo 2, which I'll throw in here real quick. Knowing that I can cut it out if the episode runs too long. Me and my cousin Ian, who used to play a lot of StarCraft, by the way, but we played Diablo 2 with a friend who was in Canada, and we played through almost the entire game. And this is before Skype or anything, right? And so the whole time, it not hitting me that he was in Canada, because here, if someone's in Canada, it's kind of like, you hardly even think about it. They might as well be, you know, quote unquote, nationally local, right? And so we spent the entire time on speakerphone with him. And that was long distance.
Nice.
The entire Diablo 2 campaign.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
God.
Oh yeah.
Hundreds?
No.
Of dollars?
No. It was about $2,200. Fuck. Yeah, it was hardcore. Yeah, it was.
That was one nice campaign, actually.
It really was. I don't know if it was worth that much money, but it was fun. It was totally fun. But yeah, so that's like hardcore. So before I continue to keep rambling about stuff, so they're making an enhanced version of Planescape Torment. This is actually really interesting for me because I've never played Planescape Torment, with the exception of I actually got it off GOG like 4 months ago, installed it, and I've played maybe 4 hours of it total. So I'm just going to stop, and I'm going to wait till this gets released, and then I'm just going to play it, and it'll be a lot better.
Our experiences actually match pretty well. I also got it a while ago, like I think a year. Installed all the mods for high resolution and that, but it had a crash a couple of times on me, and then I decided no, it's not worth it. It is said to be the greatest narrative game of all time, so I'm really happy that that's coming out.
It's supposed to be amazing.
Quite soon.
That's what I keep hearing from everyone. You know that
April 11th. April 11th is the release date. It's coming out on all platforms, right?
I
PC,
believe so.
Android, iOS, Linux, not sure, Mac.
Yeah.
All the things. I'm really happy that these classics are getting remastered.
Yeah, me too.
StarCraft, Planescape, Torment.
Although I'll point out that the actual stuff they showed in the StarCraft Remastered trailer, it doesn't look that remastered. Like, they do that whole screen swipe thing, and they're like, here's how it looks now. And I'm going, okay.
Jaw-dropping.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it's just too old.
Yeah,
it's just too old.
And they don't want anything to compete with StarCraft 2, let's be honest. You know, so there's that.
Speaking of Planescape Torment, Brian Fargo is going to retire, isn't he? After Wasteland 3.
Supposedly.
Yeah. No, he said that. He wants to go and climb Machu Picchu.
I understand, but the whole thing is that it doesn't take that long to climb Machu Picchu. Right. I mean, it doesn't. It's someone that you have that has been going hard and been like on for that long. Man, you know what? It's retirement is a bitch. Like I would put money on that he may be retiring for a while, but he'll be back because he's just, I mean, you can't be on for that long and then just stop. It's
I
weird.
guess so. I guess so. He's been in the games industry for 38 years. That's a long time.
Really long time. Yeah. We'll see, though. You know, he has a lot of good stuff under his belt, which is nice.
I still have to play Wasteland. I think you gifted me Wasteland, didn't you?
I think so. Yeah.
It's
okay.
On Steam.
It's you know what's weird is that I've gotten to this point, and I think it's because I'm so low on time, that I'm also not a speed reader. Like my fiance, she has a PhD, so she speed reads. Like I'm like, hey, look at this, and it's like 4 paragraphs, and she's like, oh, neat. Like she's read the whole thing. So like Wasteland has just it's one of those games, obviously low budget, has just enough voiceover to just go, oh look, we have a little bit of voiceover, and the rest of it is pretty much text. I just it's one of those things where if it's just paragraphs and paragraphs of text, I just can't do it. You know, I just don't have the mind for it anymore, like or the patience. And I hate that because, you know, I used to love like text adventures and stuff like that. In fact, I think I would almost do better with a pure text adventure these days than a graphical game where I have to switch between like a graphical UI and reading text all the time. But yeah, so I've actually played, I think, about 3 hours of Wasteland 2. It's actually Wasteland 2. So, not the first one.
That you gifted me.
Yeah.
Right.
The first Wasteland was even, I think, before Fallout. Because I know Fallout was, the original Fallout game was influenced by Wasteland. Because they couldn't they couldn't get the actual rights to Wasteland. They wanted to do Wasteland 2, the first Fallout game. They wanted to do Wasteland 2, and they couldn't get the rights, or they were going to, and it fell through, and so they just called it Fallout.
I remember. They created their own role-playing system as well for it.
Yeah,
right?
I think they actually started out. And stats I think they actually started out with GURPS, right? As like a role-play system, exactly. And then they're like, we need a little bit more structure than this, you know. But yeah, we'll see. And then
it's usable.
Fallout 4 VR is supposed to be at E3.
Yeah, I'm gonna be really interested to see how they solve the core problem of VR. Movement in space. That's the biggest problem. Whoever solves that first is gonna win the lottery.
Yeah, no, I agree. And what's hilarious is that there's actually a quote in the article from one of the Bethesda people. They're like, "It's amazing! It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life." And I'm going, and they're like, "You look around and it's so realistic." And I'm going, have you played Fallout 4? Because it's great, but fidelity-wise, no, it's not. And so, anyway, we'll see.
I would not go so far and call Fallout 4 great. It's good, but I went in with the wrong expectations. It was actually one of the first games that I played on the channel that did well for me. But I forced myself to play it way long, and I went in with the expectation of it being a role-playing game, and it is not that at all, because it does not allow you any choices and stuff. If I'd gone in and expected a Borderlands-like shooter with crafting elements, then it would have been good. But because I was always expecting some choice or stuff to make sense and a role to play for me, I was so dissatisfied. I started a pacifist playthrough, and that was not possible at all. You were first forced in one of the first quests to kill raiders, and you could take that pacify trait. So I basically leveled up to get that pacify thing, and I pacified all the raiders, and then the game told me no. That is not how it's gonna work. The people that was in that museum in the first town, and there were people besieged by raiders, and they said, "Yeah, help us," and all that. So I got those raiders to give up, but I had to kill them because otherwise the people wouldn't be happy.
Yeah, I would say I didn't really expect a role playing game after Fallout 3. I mean, it was more like a pretty in depth action game for me. That's pretty much what I expected, and that's what I got. But yeah, it always bugs me. One of the things that always bugs me about Fallout 4 and Fallout 3 actually is that whole thing, and you get this on MMOs all the time, right? Which is annoying. Is like you're walking through the street and you see someone and they immediately start shooting at you, no matter what, unless they're like a named NPC or something, or they're part of a settlement. They start shooting at you, and it's like that makes no sense. Like if that group, even if they're raiders or something, right? If I don't even think raiders, for the most part, would act like that. Like if they just shot every single person they saw.
Yes,
they wouldn't have any trade. They wouldn't be able to just it just makes no sense whatsoever. And so like even if they had like a negotiation mechanic in there, would be actually really cool. Like even a baseline negotiation mechanic and like a score with groups, right? Like like a lot of games have. Where some groups will actually start to like you more, type thing. That I think would have added even a significant amount of depth. But this whole thing, just anything that sees you starts shooting at you,
Agreed.
Yeah, it's immersion breaking for me, like hardcore.
Yeah, well, my immersion went overboard, but let's see. I mean, if it's good in VR, what I want to play in VR is Skyrim, but looks like that's not going to happen anytime soon, because you need to change the interface and all that stuff. I wonder why they're not doing it. I wonder why they're not just doing it. But I guess they have to cope with the movement problem. We'll see what they do. But I'm gonna be watching the Bethesda space, see what they come up with for the movement. Because how are they going to do it? Are you going to teleport? What choice are they going to make to not make you sick?
I guess you're still. I was thinking, I guess they could introduce like baseline vehicles, but that still wouldn't do it either.
No, it doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. No. I read on Gamasutra a while ago actually about a project where they sort of had a warehouse, and the program would create the level in a way that always kept you going in circles without you noticing it really. But you need a certain amount of space to make that viable, right? Yeah. So like I think about 5 on 5 meters or something at the minimum. So it's not quite there yet. Right. And I'm not sure how you're gonna do that in an open world game like Fallout, where you can go into one direction for 4 miles.
Oh, you're saying
kilometers.
You're saying like the warehouse, like physically.
They had a physical warehouse where people were in there with their headsets, and they were like playing games.
The floors moved or something.
No, they were using a program.
Okay.
While they were in there, and the program was building the rooms that the people were experiencing in a way that they were always using that certain warehouse.
So they were actually causing the person to move around spatially in a circle.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Okay. To sort of get around the space constraint that you have. But I don't think that has gone anywhere. Otherwise, I would have seen it crop up in games, wouldn't I?
Yeah. Interesting. That's actually quite interesting. Okay,
it's an interesting solution, right?
Yeah. I don't know how you would make that work in like Fallout 4, though. I mean, like, because usually you would notice if you were turning. I don't know. It's just odd.
Exactly. I guess you would have to build the game from the ground up with that in mind.
Yeah. Interesting. So, I've never played Dark Souls. None of them. I know. Let me give you a list of the things I know. I know they're hard, and people like that. I know that they're like 99% single player, and the other 1% is like that ghost thing that other people, you can see ghosts of them or something. And I also know that I like the name of the studio, which I can't remember, and I know that same studio...
From Software.
Yeah, there you go. And I know that they also made Bloodborne, which looks cool, and I want to play, but mainly only because it looks really cool. The aesthetic is really badass. And there are not very many games that I'm interested in playing just because they look cool. So that's saying something. So this is all your topic. I'll just sit here and be like, yeah, oh, wow. How does that make you feel? Yeah, you like that, huh? Okay, so go ahead.
Tell me more about that. Well, I've been playing all the Dark Souls games, starting with Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. I've not played the last 2 Dark Souls DLCs. This is going to be the last installment in the Dark Souls series for now, which is kind of sad. I'm sad to see the series end, but I guess they've sort of reached the saturation point. Dark Souls 3 was some passages very similar to Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3. I liked it. The thing about the difficulty that you have to understand is that the difficulty of the game is not something that is just there without a reason, right?
I do understand that, like, each major, like, monster, for lack of a better word, has specific, like, a pattern of dealing with them that you have to learn, right?
But it's deeper than that. The difficulty is a narrative device. Because what you're playing in those Dark Souls games is a hollow. An undead person
that should just off themselves immediately.
Well, they can't. They keep coming back and back again at these bonfires. So naturally, at some point, they try to find out what is actually happening here. And they find out they have a curse, and that seemingly they can break that curse by linking the fire, which means sacrificing themselves in some sort of huge kiln. So to get there, they have to unlock that kiln and then throw themselves in the fire. And what you come to realize as you play through it and as you explore it, a lot of the story is told through item descriptions. Is
this any spoilers?
There are spoilers for Dark Souls, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
If you don't want to be spoiled, move away for a couple of minutes. What you come to realize is that this whole sacrificing yourself to bring again the Age of Fire is a plot of the gods that want to prolong their own age and their own sort of reign to prevent the rule of men, right?
Okay.
And the thing is, it's so goddamn difficult because you're fighting gods and you're fighting superhuman enemies, and you're just one undead dude that won't give up. You're fighting all the other undead as well, and you're basically the random blip that gets to the goal, right? You're that one guy that persevered and that went through the world and that overcame all that depression and that dreariness and all that and fought through the end.
So the multiplayer ghosting thing is supposed to be like other undeads that have been trying to do this as well.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly. And other people, you can either summon other undead to help you in the game. For example, beat bosses, because it basically says the fabric of time and space is sort of permeated in Dark Souls. So you can call others to help you, but you can also be invaded. And these guys invade your world for a certain purpose. They try to kill you and take your souls, your power basically that you have amassed, and your humanity, which is a form of the Dark Souls. So all power in this world, the magic system, the mythos, is that power comes from souls. And humanity is basically, all of them are sharing the dark soul. That's why that's the name. And the others are sharing those fire souls that have been broken into something. So you have this constant fight, dark against light, and the gods have sort of linked humanity to they have given them that curse, so that every time that humanity that the Age of Fire ends, humans become undead and then find that way that they have to sacrifice themselves, and that prolongs the Age of Fire again. But it's really clever that it is a narrative device, that everything is so freaking hard.
Right, gotcha. That's interesting.
I hope I could explain that.
Yeah, no, that's actually really interesting.
Game.
Yeah, it actually makes me want to play it. It sounds extremely frustrating, but at the same time, I think I'd be less frustrated that it's not just a difficulty level, that there's actually a narrative point.
Yeah, the thing is, if you learn the game mechanics, if you learn to parry, for example, so you time the attack of the enemy and then parry it with your shield, and then do a riposte and stuff like that, you can play whole levels in a couple of minutes. that you took hours at the beginning. So your own player skill does level up to the point where you can sort of beat them, but an enemy never becomes just a pushover. They're always difficult, even for high-end people. You just have to be careful, but you can navigate through the world at some point because you're learning, and it's all very natural. You are actually that undead.
Interesting. Cool. Okay. Well, I may have to actually check them out. I may actually get a... Are those only on PlayStation? I think they're only on PlayStation, right?
Nope.
On Xbox as well?
Is only on all the platforms. PC as well.
Oh, really?
Although PC does
I've heard the PC port was kind of shit, though.
Yeah, you have to get the Durante patch. It was patched by the community by a very capable modern programmer, Durante.
Okay.
Who is now actually working for proper studios, helping them to.
Oh, I remember you telling me about him, I think. But,
yeah,
in the past. Yeah, that's really cool. I think that whenever we eventually have apparel for the show, one of them should just say, "I'm just one undead dude." Because that was a good line.
Yeah, why not?
There is one other thing I wanted to mention. I actually watched I haven't watched all of it, but Paradox is publishing a game called Steel Division, Normandy 44.
Yeah.
It's being published by them, so they actually have a producer that works with, I think the studio's Eugen or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually really interesting. It's like, it actually looks like the actual game interface. I don't know if you've seen any of the gameplay streams, but the interface looks like a map on like a general's table type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you start at the beginning, and there's I believe 3 phases if I remember correctly. And the first phase is and the map is really cool. Like you can actually scroll down. They actually make a joke about how if you zoom in far enough, you can actually see tomatoes like in a field type thing. But it's actually modeled from actual recon photos from World War II. So it's like really detailed. It's really interesting.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Although I'm not too keen on World War II anymore.
Right, yeah, I get it.
Have you seen that Call of Duty World War II has been rumored?
Yes,
They're returning to World War II.
I specifically did not put that on the list for your sake.
I played the early Call of Duties when they were still in World War II, and then I just started to ignore them at some point.
I still go for the World War II stuff mainly because World War I is extremely difficult to do in any realistic fashion that's interesting from a gameplay perspective. I mean, unless you get into like pretty hardcore grand strategy, you know. And I don't find modern warfare that interesting whatsoever. And I don't just mean Call of Duty. I mean like modern warfare in general.
The problem with World War I was that all the general ships underestimated the power of defense that those new weapons like machine guns and all that gave those armies. So you basically those wars were, it sounds horrible, but rather boring. You have fights day in, day out, no decisive actions. The front moves a couple of kilometers, and meanwhile millions die. I had high hopes for Battlefield 1.
You know what's weird is that Battlefield 1 is pretty much exactly as I expected, because I know, I mean, I'm not like a World War I expert or anything, but I know enough about it to know that, okay, you're not putting out a Battlefield game that's going to be enjoyable, that's realistic. It's just not going to happen. Like, I mean, you can make the effort, that's great, but I mean, if it's going to be fun, you're not going to. But I think World War I games shine the most when they're more political simulators, right? And diplomacy simulators. So,
well, I guess it's also not that much in the American mind, where still most of the game developers and publishers are sort of based. I think it's way more present in sort of Germany and France, World War I, because for us it was really a huge 4-year-long engagement, and for you guys, you swooped in at the end and made the difference.
You mean like World War II? Which although
I actually say that you really earned the victory in World War II, and I'm really happy that you won it.
Well, right. No, I get it. I still think I still find, you know, I use the term, and you may not be familiar with this. I don't know, not being American, but I used the term earlier when we were talking about something else, America porn, and you know, it's one of those things where, you know, American forces lately, usually special forces, they're supermen and they go in and they just do amazing thing. And they're like, we're planting freedom flags everywhere, and it's just like, really? Oh God, please. And I get that from people who don't know much about World War II, or they know just enough so that they can say, America was amazing. We did everything, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, actually, there was fucking a lot of people involved in that. A lot of people involved in that, Yeah. So, and like we came in at the point where people had been fighting and dying for quite a long time before America stepped in. And by the way,
World War II. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, and by the way, that was because the American people were like, what? No, that's not our problem. We don't want to have anything to do with that. And I'm like, so those people can go fuck themselves. Anyway, go ahead.
America first.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good motto.
Yeah.
If Japan didn't lose most of their fleet in that one freak battle where
at Midway
for some reason I think so, where the first part of their fleet arrived and then they got killed off, and then the second part arrived, and then the back arrived. If that had gone differently, the whole war might have gone quite a bit different.
Right. Yeah.
Because Japan had the strongest fleet in the whole area.
Oh yeah.
Although you could say that Japan had no choice after they had that oil embargo.
I agree completely.
On them. I mean,
I have fought the Japan side of that argument quite a many times against American people that are just like blah 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 blah, and I'm like,
Well, there are always a lot of sides to this argument, but yeah, coming back to World War One, I've read all the literature. There's quite a line of German authors sort of going this. Interesting is Ernst Jünger, who was actually both wars. He was lieutenant in the first, and then a colonel in the second, and also he sort of had those diaries and all that. And then you have Erich Maria Remarque, for example, Nothing New in the West. I think his book is pretty famous, and that sort of has shaped how I think about World War One.
Yeah, isn't World War One the that was where Germany was pretty much relying on the success of the Schlieffen Plan?
Yeah, Schlieffen Plan, yeah. Germany was always fucked because of their strategic position between those coalitions. Bismarck had that whole diplomacy system, and then Wilhelm II let it fall down, and then Germany was encircled.
That was the worst thing to ever happen to Germany. I think one of the worst things in its history was for them to get rid of Bismarck, which was just like, you crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sad to see the Prussian militarism gone.
Yeah.
I'd rather see Germany build cars than weapons.
Yeah, I agree. It would be nice to see Russia do that as well. Which sounds hilarious, me saying that as an American, especially at a point in our history where we can't provide health care for everyone, but we can definitely increase our already ridiculous military budget.
Yeah.
Anyway,
gotta set your priorities. Move on.
Okay. So, movies?
Yeah, I've been watching a bit of a K-drama on Netflix, White Nights, because my wife is actually a big fan of K-dramas.
I'm not familiar with the term. Is that Korean?
Yeah, Korean
okay.
Korean dramas.
Cool.
It's actually quite interesting. My wife started listening to Korean pop.
Cool.
We had the Gangnam Style thing, and then she went down the whole rabbit hole of listening to all the K-pop.
I'm not sure if I should say I'm sorry. Or not. I've never listened to it, so I don't know.
No, it's actually really good.
Is it good?
It's quite compelling if you get used to it. It's very high quality. They are outdoing the American music industry actually in terms of polish. The K-pop stuff. It's sort of an industry where you have young people that sign long lease contracts, and then they build these bands. There's not a lot of independent artists over there. They're mainly created. So you have these bands, and then they get the
like
first album and all that stuff. Yeah, they have real academies where these people all live together. They got their own band manager, and then they get pushed and marketed and all that. And after a couple of years, they basically have fulfilled their contract and all that stuff. But it's super high quality,
nice
stuff.
What is it with South Korea and camps? Like they do the same thing with esports, which is cool. It's cool. I don't know. Is that a cultural thing? It's like you're all going to go to a camp,
possibly,
and then you're going to live together.
Possibly. Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so we went down that Korean culture rabbit hole, and that includes Korean dramas. And we watched that White Knights thing on Netflix. It's actually not good. Okay. I'm sorry, I can't recommend it. There are a bunch of good Korean dramas. White Knights is sort of following, I think, if I remember correctly, a person who's leading an auction firm, and there's all kinds of money and power struggle in there, but it's really not good. It's badly acted. But there are a bunch of good K-dramas. I think my wife watched City Hunter. I think that was good, and then she watched Heirs, or The Inheritance, or something about some rich heirs, the upper echelons of South Korean society.
Oh, nice.
And how they double cross each other and do horrible things to each other. So that seems to have been quite good. And sort of the psychological problems that you have if you grow up with parents that have managed to do a lot more than you might ever be able to achieve.
Oh, right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
So either they fuck up their life or they get depressed. So or they get lorded over and tormented by their parents.
Yes, gotcha. Interesting.
Didn't have a lot of time to watch stuff since Battle Brothers and all that.
Right. No, I know how that is. My fiance's going out of town on Friday. My father's actually going to fly in, which is pretty cool. And
nice.
Because I like hanging out with him. And we're going to go see, because he's flying in on opening day, we're going to go see Ghost in the Shell. And I'm not sure how I feel about it.
What is that? Describe it to me. What is that?
Really? You don't know what Ghost in the Shell is?
Nope.
Oh, dude. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so Ghost in the Shell is, in my mind, one of the greatest anime series ever. I joke about it, but I pretty much remember when I found out that my fiance was like a huge Ghost in the Shell fan, I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to fucking marry this girl. Seriously. That was like years ago.
Right.
Yeah, and so... Anyway, it's been like a huge thing. There's now a Ghost in the Shell movie that releases on Friday, and it's starring Scarlett Johansson.
Okay.
But the fact that you don't even know what it is makes it more difficult for me to talk about it, because I wanted to ask you about whitewashing in films. But the point being is that I'm really looking forward to it. And one of the things I'll say about the film, which obviously I haven't seen yet, I'm extremely familiar with the films, especially the first one. And it looks like they're sticking to the first film pretty hardcore. I mean, like, the stuff I've seen in the trailers, there are major scenes that are in the trailers that are like almost duplicates from the anime, right? I mean, like literally, I'm like, wow, that's that scene. And I've actually like looked at the trailer, went to that scene in the anime and played them. And I'm like, holy shit, they're like really trying to match this up hardcore, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm looking forward to it. I really, really, really hope it doesn't suck.
I hope you don't get disappointed.
It's really cool that they're trying to match up the original movie so well, but at the same time, I kind of like that makes the risk even worse for me. I kind of wish like maybe they would just go for a completely different, like a different part of the universe as opposed to trying to match the movie, which is a masterpiece. So anyway, but you should totally watch it. Seriously.
Yeah, I might check that out. I've not been too hugely into anime up to this point. I want to get into it though. I know that Dark Souls has been inspired by Guts thing.
So the Guts thing.
Berserk is the thing that inspired Dark Souls.
I don't know if I've ever actually read Berserk or not.
Berserk. The whole weapons and basically characters out of that thing.
Oh, cool. Okay. Nice. Very cool. You know what's weird? It's kind of a hit or miss thing, but there's some really, really good stuff out there. Like Cowboy Bebop is great, and Trigun is great. And, you know, I'm not really into the more cutesy anime, but the more like dramatic and even action drama stuff that has some really awesome story to it is really interesting stuff. There's some really good stuff out there. So you should definitely try out Ghost in the Shell. So yeah, I think unless you have anything else, I think we're done.
Yep.
Awesome.
I don't have anything else.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. Oh, I will say that we wanted to do a little thing real quick, especially the first, 4 or 5 episodes. Obviously, this is the 3rd one, so we're behind. We just thought of it. Okay, give us a break. Stuff that has to do with kind of meta for the show of like what we're going through to produce the show, because I personally like behind the scenes stuff myself, and so I thought that listeners might as well. What are we currently doing? Oh, we currently don't have a website, and the story behind that is that I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. And when I say how, as in I don't know how to make a website, I actually do web development as a job. But it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, well, I could just use Squarespace. But then I look at Squarespace and I'm like, I think it's a little bit overkill at this point, right? And then I'm like, I could just build it myself. I'm like, I don't really want to have to build it myself. That's just lame. And then I'm like, well, maybe we could do this thing over here. No, I could find a content management system. I'm like, but that's a bit overkill at the moment as well. I don't know. So I think what I've settled on is I'm going to do a basic design for the first site, because what we need a place that when someone asks or anything, we can link them to the site and they can go there, and we have links to the most popular podcasts or services and apps that they can go to if they'd like, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like a feedback form and something like that. So I don't have time to do all the responsive stuff to make sure it works on all of the mobile devices and all that stuff, because that stuff takes a crap load of time if you're not like immersed in it all the time. So I have a friend who actually does that, and so I talked to him already. So I'm going to do a design, and then I'm going to hand it to him and have him tweak it however he needs, all the CSS to make sure it works well, and then we'll have that up, and we'll have a contact form and blah blah blah. And hopefully, and I'm very interested in doing something like this, you know, when we have enough listeners and it makes sense, we might throw a forum or something for the community. That would be nice. So there's that. And then as far as like show quality, like audio, we're still working on that. Like we noticed our last show, one of us like moves away from the mic a little bit. It drops in volume a little bit more than I would like, and we're adding compression and things like that in post. But it's still not perfect. We're still working on it. You know, and just editing in general, just like what do we keep, what do we, not, because, our shows actually, usually the content spans significantly longer than the actual in-show, right? Like, what are we at now? Like an hour and 54 minutes? Yeah, this,
yeah.
If you're listening to this, you're not at an hour and 54 minute mark, right? So, yeah, it's just...
I have derailed the discussion with some stupid moral questions.
No, they're not stupid. They're not stupid. They're stupid. Your opinions on them are stupid, but no, I'm just joking. Anyway, no.
Way to go.
Oh,
way to go.
So,
how very American of you.
Yeah, no, I really try hard not to do that. But,
just pulling your leg.
Yeah, no, I know. We also don't have any like established intro music at the moment. Our last episode we had something to temp on it. I don't know what we're gonna have on this. It might be the same temp. I'm actually looking at people to do some actual custom composition for the show. That would be nice, because we want something that kind of fits our theme-ish, whatever that is. I don't even think we've figured that out completely. But yeah, so it's just, it's a fun thing, and we're making headway, and that's nice, and we appreciate everyone who's listening, and if, if you know anyone who else you think would enjoy this, please share it. That'd be awesome. You can also contact us, comments at localgods.net, which I believe I'm going to change that at some point to something like stuff.
To what?
Stuff at localgods.net. Comments just sounds far too corporate. It's like, please.
Yeah, I guess so.
Let us know how we can serve you better. We appreciate your business. Yeah, no. Just
like there were actually some...
Or shit. Just shit at localgods. No, I'm just joking. That doesn't work, by the way. Don't send email there.
Right. There were some comments on the... There was mainly... Yeah, I think 2 comments under the last video. Under the first podcast, one person was also drinking Belgian beer, because we were drinking in that first episode.
I was drinking a lot. Too much.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, it's kind of nice to know that people are drinking stuff as well. I guess I'm gonna organize another beer for the next episode, I guess.
Yeah, I'd like to do that as well. My problem is that first episode we were recording on a Friday night, so it was easy. But since then, like, we've been recording like in the middle of the week, in the middle of the day, and I'm like, this is my lunch break, so I'm like working, so it's more difficult.
That stupid 6-hour time difference.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Exactly. But yes, if you have any comments or you just want to be mentioned on the show, but I mean, you would need to send something more than mention me on the show. Just make something up. You can email us right now at comments@localgods.net, and that's really about it. Anything else you have to add in?
Yeah, you gotta plug your stuff, Spot.
Oh, right. Yeah, my stuff, right.
What are you doing?
I still have a YouTube channel.
Where can people find you?
YouTube.com/Spotnik, SPOTNYK. You can find me under the same name on Twitter, Spotnik. You'll get more off Twitter than you will off YouTube at the moment. Although we are posting this on YouTube every other show on each other's channels. So if you want to stay completely up to date, you need to be subscribed to both of us. Yes, that's done on purpose, by the way. Yeah. So, but that's really about it. And I hope to have some stuff upcoming. I'll throw out, it looks like I'm going to be moving in June. And if it works out, I will actually have a dedicated room for my office space. So I will be able to record significantly more easy. So I should be putting out even some more stuff then. But there should be some stuff before then as well. How do they find you?
Yeah, they find me on YouTube under Horath Drak with a TH written together. And on Twitter under the same name as well. I also started Instagram
did you really?
a couple of days ago.
Oh, that's right, you did. You posted your office.
Yeah, my shitty green screen setup. I hate that thing. It always takes me half an hour to an hour to actually set it up properly until the green screen works annoying. And all that.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to having something permanent that I can just throw on and it works in an instant.
Well, you know the trick about having a really good green screen experience. Well, there's two. First is have it as far behind you as possible so that you don't get any backsplash. And the other thing is shave your head.
I shall not.
I never have a green screen problem.
On you, but
I never have a green screen problem because it's just like pure contrast, man.
No, that's not. Although you might have some light bouncing off it.
Not if it's far enough away. That's the trick.
Right. No, the problem is that the actual fabric is uneven at the moment. I guess I might have to iron it or something, but I don't want to do that. So
it casts shadow.
Yeah, the problem is that for the Battle Brothers Let's Play, I have been sort of putting on my Viking helmet when I'm in battle, and then outside of battle I take it off. And because the helmet sort of shines back the light, it fucks up the green screen, so I have to adjust it every time I take it on and off.
Ooh.
That has been getting annoying.
So you're actually doing your chroma stuff in post?
No, while I'm recording.
Oh, that's right. You don't do post, do you?
Yeah, I try to avoid that.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Okay, cool. Well then, great. So if you would like to see, I guess this show more, go subscribe to me and future videos. I'll have some stuff up there. And if you would like to see Horath with green hair, go subscribe to him. He posts a lot more videos than me. A lot.
Yeah, I've gone down a little bit.
Let's just pause for effect. A lot. All right. Cool.
That big.
Yes, again, comments at localgods.net. Give us a shout. It's always nice to hear from people. And I guess that's about it. We good? Cool. Well, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye-bye.